So welcome, this is the Hong Kong Bank example, and this is 3-6. And if you look below, you'll see the link, and just click on the link and then click on chapter 3, and then you'll see the data for the chapter 3. All right, so I'm going to take this example here and see if we can replicate it or build it on our own. All right, so just let me highlight everything here and then put that onto a fresh sheet over here. Okay, and I got my tables to do everything. And let me just blank out things because we need to figure it out on our own. I would just blank out the... Okay, let's first start from the beginning. And this information is given. It's given in the textbook saying full-timers, they cost $90. All right, so they cost $90. And part-timers cost $28 for that. And since all the rest are part-timers, we can just copy that across like so. Okay, and we're going to need our formula because we're going to try and minimize costs. We're going to try and get all the coverage, and these are again bank tellers. We want to get all the coverage during the busy times especially, and we want to minimize the cost of that. So we would use the sum product. Okay, then we'd have our first array is right here going across. All right, and then a comma, and then our next array, which would be the number of tellers. And we need this to be an absolute address. We want to fix it to that location. And for me, that's hitting F4 will do that. All right, and then I'll just close off that bracket. All right, like so. And then the constraints, we'll take a look here. They need to have a certain number of tellers on for these different time periods. So we can just call this, it starts at 9, so 9 to 10. All right, needs. And then we can go 10 to 11, needs. All right, 11 to 12, needs. And so on. All right, and we've got over here the number required. So this is the right-hand side constraint. So going from 9 to 10, we only need 10 people on at that time, and then 12 people on, and then 14, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 17, 15, 10. Okay, that looks good. Usually it's good to have this in right in Excel so that you can just sort of copy or refer to it. Now let's take a look in terms of full-timers. So here's full-timers right here. You can take a look. This is the full-timers. Full-timers are in from 9 to 5, so we should be able to just take this down here. Now one thing that's mentioned, it's not in the tables over here, but it was mentioned that full-timers get lunch hour. Full-timers get lunch hour of 1 hour. All right. And they have 2 lunch kind of shifts. So half of them go away at 11, and then the other half go for lunch at noon. All right, so we'll do a half. Whatever this becomes, it gets multiplied by half because only half are there. The rest are at lunch. Okay, so this group here, it starts at 9 a.m. But notice over here, they start at 9, but they leave at 1. So every shift is 4 hours for the part-timers, right? Every time they come on for that day, right, they're only there for 4 hours. So we can take this group can come, but they're only there for 4 hours. So they're in at 9, and then they're out of there by 1. All right, so we can take that because they're only doing their 4 hours at a time. So we can copy that. All right, these guys are coming in at 10. You can see that corresponds starting at 10. And the next group is coming in at 11. You can see that that's there. And again, I'm copying 4 at a time because that's what they do. And then lastly, we've got the ones coming in at 1, and they leave at 5. All right, so that gives us that coverage there. Now the next one we got to take a look at is full-time. All right, so this will be the max full-time. So maximum full-time employees they have, so this, they currently have 12, right? So they're looking at at any sort of given time, do we need 12, right? Is there a way to do this, make sure we have coverage throughout the day, but perhaps, do we need all 12 full-timers? That's the question to look at. And then there's another constraint, all right, and that's the part-time limit. All right, and that's given in the textbook as well, saying that now there's a limit for part-timers. They can only take half of the hours. They can only take half of the hours or less. They can't take more than that. So it looks like the full-timers have some kind of job protection. So since they could do half, we can just take this and we can sum, all right, all these needs right here. Okay, and then multiply it by 0.5. All right, and that gives us 56. So they can't do more than 56. So 56 is the most that they can do. All right, so let's try and figure out the signs. Okay, so in terms of what should be here in terms of, I guess, the number of people working, this needs to be, again, we can't go below 10. So this needs to be, this number needs to be greater than or equal to. Okay, so whatever this number is, it has to be greater than or equal to 10. So it can't be 9, it can't be 8, but 10 is okay, 11 is okay, 12 is okay, and so on. And this is true for all these other constraints as well, in terms of we need to have, like I said, we need to have at a minimum 18. So anything 18 and above for that particular time slot is good. All right, same thing for here. We need to have a minimum of 17. So anything above or equal to 17 is good. Now here we got max full time, all right, is 12. So any number below that is okay. All right, so, and 12 is the max. So they can't have, for example, they can't have 13 people working there because they don't have 13 full-time. This 12 came from the information in the question saying they have currently 12 full-time workers. All right, so how many full-time workers do we need that day? And of course, the part-time limit is this number here has to be less than or equal to 56 because, again, they can't take more than half, and half is the 56. And again, we got half of that from taking this amount here, the total number, and taking half of that. Okay, let's do that. So that would be less than or equal to. All right, so we need some formulas in here. So we can take this formula like so. All right, we can copy it. Take the formula and copy it. Now with it, we copy the color. So we need to have the right color for that. So let's change the color so that it matches up, and let's just change the format. Because it's not in dollars, right? So it's just a sort of number, right? Then it was sort of done as currency. And then we can copy that down like so. Okay, so what we're gonna do for full-time appears right here in this column. So this needs to be however number of full-time, right? This gets multiplied by 1, and then it gets compared over here. And part-time limit, so part-time it wouldn't be appearing here because that's full-time, so part-time. But remember, for part-timers, every time they're on, they're doing 4 hours. All right, so multiply that by 4. Okay, so I think we're ready to go. We're ready to go for this, so we can start solving. So we just highlight here, and then go into data, and then solver. All right, so we can go into here for this one. It is minimum, and then the variables, changing variable cells. So here's our decision variables right here, the yellow. Okay, so we got that, and we can get rid of those. So we can delete that and delete this one and just start fresh for that one. Okay, so let's add in a constraint. All right, so left-hand side would be here and goes all the way down to here, as we can see, and this is all greater than or equal to. So we need to change this to greater than or equal to. Then we do the right-hand side. Okay, and we stop at our last greater than or equal to, and we add that in. And then our next one are these two here. Okay, make sure both of them are highlighted. And this is the correct sign. All right, and then the constraints like so, and then we can go okay. All right, we got the simplex is what we need. We should always leave it at that. And we can just go solve and hope for the best. Okay, so it looks like we got the same answer as this one over here from the answer key, right, from the textbook. Okay, one thing to note about the answer here is if you look here, it's saying that we only need 10, but we have 12, right? So that's something to look at. And as well, you can see that they don't need any part-timers, right? So it's all, they got no part-timers here in the first shift, right? Because the full-timers are all there. They're using all full-timers. But notice in the next one, they use 7. So they load up on there. And again, that's important because that's going to cover the sort of, not only the lunchtime, but the busy time during that. And then that tapers off. And then at noon, right? So at noon, they have 5 in at that time, right? So 5 are coming in on that shift. Now, the interesting thing about that is when they're coming in at noon, they're leaving at 4, right? Which leaves them with no part-timers. Okay, and the reason why they don't need part-timers in the last hour is if you could see from here and from here at that last hour, it's not that busy, so they don't need as many people coming on. All right, so that's what I'm looking at in this question. Thank you for watching.